Hey guys, it's Ashley with My Soul on Fire, and today we are actually going to be doing my honeycomb cup. So what I have done to prep for this, I just took and I spray painted. It's not perfect, but I'm going to do the epoxy method on this, so it doesn't really have to be perfect. But I spray painted this cup with this here, the marigold color, the Rust-Oleum 2 times with the paint primer in it, in marigold. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do the epoxy method, and I'm going to put a coat of glitter on this. I'm going to be using Tawny. It's like an iridescent gold that I got from Lillys Glitter Shop. And Lillys Glitter Shop is actually on Etsy. So it's just www.lillysglittershop, SHOPPE at Etsy.com. I do not get paid anything to sponsor them or anything like that, but I do have a lot of their glitters, and so I can vouch for the quality of them. I do typically take these and put them in shakers. I have shakers like this that I put them in. I'm out right now, so I'm just using them from the bags right now. Alright, so what I'm going to do first is I'm going to mix up some epoxy. Okay, so today I'm actually going to be using art resin. I really like this one. The reason that I use this one now is because I had an issue with yellowing, and I was told that this one was much better for that. It is a little bit of a pricier epoxy resin, whatever. It is a little pricier. It is totally worth it. I love it, and I don't have yellowing anymore. They say that you can counteract that yellowing with a little bit of blue dye. I have not had luck with that. I call their bluff. Maybe it works for some people. It does not work for me. And I feel like I shouldn't have to put blue dye into something that I'm paying money for just to make sure that it doesn't yellow. That makes no sense to me at all. So the one thing about the art resin is that the art resin does have a tendency to bubble a little bit more than the Alumilite. So I do mix it with one of my silicone spatulas. I find that the silicone creates less air, bubbles in it than the wood sticks do. And so I just mix it really slowly in there. The other thing that I really like about using my silicone brush is that it really scrapes the bottom really well. Hold on. Is there a piece of glitter? I swear there's glitter everywhere. Okay. So you just move it slowly. What was I saying? Oh, the shape of this contours along the bottom of my cup beautifully. And so it's easier to scrape the bottom and really get it mixed together well. The one thing you don't want to do is not mix your epoxy well enough. And then I'm going to scrape the walls every once in a while. Don't not mix your epoxy well enough. If you're not sure if it's mixed, then keep mixing. Just don't do it fast. Do it very slow. You want very few bubbles. Look at how few bubbles I have in there. It's not bad at all, actually, for the art resin. But I'm going to keep scraping along the bottom and scraping. These brushes are amazing for really getting in those edges. I don't know if you've ever had a cup that just kind of decides to just be like Can I form words today? If you've had a cup that just kind of decides to be soft in one spot, it means that you weren't scraping the bottom of your cup well enough and the edges and the sides, and there was some epoxy in there that did not get mixed. Okay, so now I'm going to turn my spinner on, and I'm going to start putting this epoxy on. Okay. I love these silicone brushes. I just got them off of Amazon. They're like the best things ever, especially when I'm doing like marbles. They work really amazingly for that. I do still, especially for something like this, I am probably going to set it down in a minute and use my hand because there's nothing better than that. But these are amazing. Now when you're doing one of these, you want to make sure that you have just enough glitter to hold the, not just enough glitter, just enough resin to hold the glitter in place, but not, you don't want to swirl it. Even though it's going to be all one color, you will notice it if this glitter starts to swirl because it gets sort of bunchy looking instead of laying straight and nice. So I'm going to give this a second to kind of all find its place on the cup and kind of get all nice and flat and beautiful. And then I'm going to take the Tawny. I'm going to move this out of the way for a minute. And I'm going to get my piece of paper to lay down. Because I don't have this in a shaker, I'm going to put a couple down. This might go a little crazy. And I am going to start pouring this up and down my cup. Ooh. There's some up there. All right, that looks pretty good. Now, I'm gonna sort of, I think actually I'm just gonna kind of tilt my spinner up, get the bottom real quick, put it back down. There we go. That was even easier. How gorgeous is that? Hey guys, all right, I'm back and I have this cup. It sat overnight. I really kind of like that holographic. Typically when I do a bee cup, I just do a straight gold, and I decided to try the holographic on this one, and I'm really liking that color. There we go. Okay, so what I've got here, I've got some random pieces of vinyl that I've cut out. Some of them are going to look, some of them are going to be looking like honey dripping over the brim of the cup, and then some of them are just pieces that are cut to look like pieces of honeycomb. So I've just got some random sizes. I've got some that are like the 3 together, a 4 together, a couple of those, a few of these, and then I've got like a 5 cluster. I might play around. I might cut some, I've got more that I can cut out. So I might cut some different things out as I go through and sort of see what's going on. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a piece of my Cricut transfer tape. Let's put this here. Got a piece of my Cricut transfer tape. I'm going to peel it off of the backing. I actually made that a little too big, but it's done is done. Lay it on top. Now I'm going to take my Cricut scraper here, and I am going to press that down onto there. Perfect. And now I'm going to peel this away, and it's stuck to my transfer tape. Okay, so now I'm going to find a good spot. I just kind of use this to kind of wedge it. I keep telling myself I'm going to make one of those things with the pool noodles or something to hold it. There are a lot of different things that you can make to hold it, and I never get around to it. But I do plan on making one of those soon, and if it works as well as everybody says it does, maybe I'll do a little tutorial on that. All right, so I'm going to find a good spot. I should mention also before I keep going that I did not put another coat of epoxy on this. This is the one coat that I did that you watched with the glitter in it. Now, this turned out super smooth. Had this not turned out super smooth, had this been gritty or grainy or bumpy, I would have probably sanded it, wet sanded it I should say, and put another layer of epoxy on it. Because you don't want to put the vinyl onto it if it's bumpy, gritty, or sandy, and it's not going to stick. Okay, so I am going to, I feel like you can't really see. Okay, so let's see if I can get this to stick. I'll put it all the way up to the top here. I'm sorry, my lighting just is not great today. We are in the process of doing some renovations, and my lighting is not going to be great until it's done. So no need to comment 27 times. I am aware that my lighting is poor right now. All right. So I'm going to keep pushing this down. And then, hold on, I'm not getting the edge down. Okay, there we go. I'm not using the greatest quality vinyl. It's all right. But I'm going to be scrapping this vinyl. It's not going to be like in the final product, so I kind of take scraps or colors that I don't use as often, or vinyl that might be just, you know, lower quality or damaged in some way, and there's like part of it that's salvageable or even discolored, because it doesn't matter what color this vinyl ends up being, because we're just going to peel it back off. I'm basically using this as kind of a pattern. Anywhere I put this vinyl is where my gold is going to show through. So it's a really good opportunity if there's any flaw or anything like that, and I don't think that there really is in this one, but if there is any flaw or anything like that, you might want to put your vinyl over, or might not want to put your vinyl over that, and just use really pretty areas of your cup to put the vinyl over, because that's the part where you're going to really see your gold. So now I'm just going to continue on, and I'm going to keep putting more of these on different places. Now with the honeycombs, I want to make sure that you kind of see this, and this is going to be hard because I ripped some of the top layer. I ripped some of the top layer of the white part of the vinyl off on accident. Well, I was going a little too fast, and like I said, it's not the best quality vinyl. So some of that white fuzz bits might stick to my transfer paper when I do this. So just so you know, it's not the fault of my transfer paper, it is the fault of me. I peeled it fast and it ripped some of that off. And I'm, you know, like I said, not using the greatest vinyl. Okay, so I'm going to lay this on top, and I'm just reusing that same transfer paper that I just used. I get several uses out of transfer paper. Until it stops really working and sticking, I use it. This one I might not get as many uses out of because I'm going to have that paper stuck to it probably, but I get some of it. Okay, so now I'm peeling this back. Let me try and get out of the way of the light here so that you can see that. Okay, so it's important that you put it on the transfer tape that way, because you want Sorry, I'm getting out of... You want this part in here to be uniform, because that's what makes it look like a honeycomb. It's not just the fact that it's a hexagon, it's the fact that they're separated by that amount together. Should probably stay here under the light. So now I'm just going to kind of go around, and with this I just kind of look at my cup and I see where I think I might want it. And I think that I'm going to do one right about here. So I just kind of lay it down, and I don't think there's any spots on this cup that didn't really turn out well, so I don't really have to worry about that too much. Okay, and now I'm just going to peel it off. Whoop, that one didn't lay down very well, so you just put it back down. Oh, perfect. Oh, I lost a light. All right. Okay. All right, sorry about that. I had a feeling that was going to happen. Like I said, we're doing some renovating, and so my light situation is really, really bad right now. So I've just got things kind of balanced on things because I don't have a really good setup right now. So I have done that one, and I'm just going to continue going around and kind of looking at my cup and figuring out, there's no rhyme or reason to this. You're just going to look at it, figure out where you want everything, and kind of go from there. Just put it where you want it. Okay, so this is what I came up with. And now I'm going to move on to the next part. And in that part, all I'm going to do is I'm going to put this on one of my holders. I'm going to take it outside, and I am going to spray paint it white all the way around. White. Okay, I'll be back. All right, guys, I'm back. And what I have done is I have spray painted this cup white. And now what I'm going to do is, and I've spray painted that over, I spray painted it white over top of the decals that I had put down. And now I'm going to take a couple alcohol inks. I have Sunshine Yellow. There we go. Sunshine Yellow. And I have Honeycomb here. Okay. And I'm just going to take those. What I have here is I have like a foam brush. And I'm just going to start off with some of my lighter color, and I'm just going to dab it onto the foam brush like so. And I'm just going to start kind of dabbing it around, which actually I should turn this off. Okay. Turn it off and then make it go again in a minute. So I just kind of dab it on. You know, like, the lighting is just so off in here right now because of the remodeling, so everything's not where it should be. So there we go. You can kind of see how it's going there. And what I like about this using alcohol ink is that it looks so organic. It just moves naturally, and it just really looks pretty. This color here, it's looking beautiful, and I just keep adding more to that. Okay, now I'm gonna rotate it a little bit again and get it to another part here. go. So I'm done with this lighter color, and you can see, I mean, it looks really pretty. Now I'm just going to go in with this darker, the Honeycomb, and I'm just going to do just a few little dabs here and there where I'm just kind of adding it in. But you want it to kind of look, what I like about this is that the alcohol ink looks kind of like it's just coated in honey. And it's a really cool look. It drips sometimes a little bit, and that's kind of what you're going for. You want it to have that honeycomb look, really. You want it to kind of look like dripping honey. Depending on what effect you want to, you can even spray this with a little bit of alcohol, and it kind of makes it, you know, drip a little bit more. It'll make it, I don't know, like a little bit more splotchy almost. I guess that's not really a pretty word for it. But you can absolutely do that. I kind of see how my cup is looking, and I kind of go from there. If I decide that I want it, then I do it. If not, then if I'm liking the way it's looking, then I'm fine. And I'm just kind of like dabbing it. You don't want to really smush because you don't want sponge lines. You want it to be more, ooh, I messed up the bottom a little bit there. Let me fix that. Okay. You want it to be more just like dabs, so it looks more like a, well, not to sound redundant, but more like honey. There we go. All right, so I'm gonna let that kind of swirl for a second for you so you can kind of see it all the way around, and I'm gonna look at it too and see if there's any spots that I want to sort of touch up. I don't know how I like that spot. It's not bad, I guess. Okay. I think, oh, hold on, I'm going to stop it in a minute. There's a spot that I really don't like. Ooh, wait, hold on, right there I don't like it either because you can see actual brush strokes. So I'm just going to go in and kind of dab it. You probably can't see that even if I know that I stopped it a little late for you to be able to see it, but you wouldn't have been able to see that probably anyway. And I don't really like this big chunk of dark right there. So I think I'm going to add a little bit more of my lighter color right there. Kind of go over it and just break it up a little bit. That's better. That was just a little bit too much there. There we go, I like that. And then I'm going to put a little bit of dark right down here. And it's, you know, just a matter of preference. Whatever you want, whatever you see. Everybody's eye is going to be a little bit different, and everybody's preference is going to be a little bit different. All right, so for this next part, I'm going to be peeling this vinyl off. I love this part. This part's fun. So I'm going to start. I've got one of these little Cricut tools. It's just like a dental pick, sort of. And I'm just going to take it, and I'm going to start pulling at the vinyl and pulling that vinyl right off. How beautiful is that? Oh, that looks really pretty. Okay, and now I'm going to move in here. Whoa, gotta be careful that you don't do that. I wasn't paying attention to my cup, I was paying attention to the video, but I can always touch up if I need to. Oh, that's looking gorgeous. This is my favorite part of the whole thing, when I start to kind of unearth that glitter again. Beautiful. That is so pretty. This is the first time that I've used this exact holographic glitter. So I really am liking it a lot. A lot. Okay. Let me actually move it a little so you can see what I'm doing better. I'm just going to come around to this side. That I'm not in the light. It makes it really hard for me to look up and all right, so this is pretty mixed together. Looks pretty good. And I'm gonna start pouring it on. I do use the silicone brush for some things to pour it on. For this in particular, I prefer to use my gloved hand. I do see people sometimes do it without gloves. I wouldn't recommend that. I especially can't because I am allergic, and I know it is something that a lot of people are actually allergic to. So I definitely wouldn't recommend trying it. If you don't know whether you're allergic to it or not, because it could be a nightmare. All right, so I am going to let this, I'm using the art resin, so this does have to cure for 12 hours before I'm going to touch it again. Okay. All right, so the next step, I'm sorry, let me scoot over so that I'm actually in the frame here. For the next step, I'm going to be putting the vinyl on this cup. So I have part of it cut out already on my Cricut in gold and part of it in black, and I'm going to kind of show you how I weave that really quick. The first thing that I always kind of do is I pull the corner, and then I just kind of, you want to very slowly sort of pull it back, and you want to do this slowly in case any of your letters or pictures or whatever it is that you're pulling out, in case any of them stick and don't pull off onto the white piece. So I'm just going to very slowly pull this away, and so far it's all coming off really nicely. This is like a matte black vinyl that I'm using here, and this vinyl here I don't believe is any special I don't believe it's any specific brand. I would have to look it up, but I know that I just got it in a big batch of vinyl on Amazon. A lot of times I have brands for you guys, and this time I really don't. It was just a pack that I was trying out to see what kind of quality the vinyl was, because sometimes when you buy in those big packs, the quality is not that great. This so far has been pretty good. So I'm gonna do some research and see if I can't find what brand it was. So now I just kind of, you can see in here where there's, you know, like the inside of the D and the O and stuff that still needs to come out. So I'm just gonna take, I really like these pointed tweezers. I also like this, this little guy here. I don't remember the actual technical names for them, but I really like this one a lot too. And I will just take and I really wonder if I can get a little closer here so you can see it a little bit better. I don't know how well you'll be able to see it, but I just kind of take and I hold like the bottom part of this D down with my finger and just barely pick it with the top part of the pick at the top. So I'm holding it down in case the part that I don't want to come up starts to peel. And then I just get right at that very corner, and you see how easily that one popped out. Some vinyls are not as easy as others, so you've just got to pay attention and, you know, just be very, very careful. Now I'm going to do the same thing with my O. Just kind of pop it up. This mat seems to weed very easily. Weeding is not always so simple. There are times where I will be doing it for hours on end, just depending on what how intricate the design is. Like when I do my peacock feathers, those take forever to weed. I'm also going to show you how I do it with like the tweezers. There are a couple other tools that I will use to do this on more intricate works and stuff, but these are my two go-tos. And in this case, again, I would just kind of hold down the edge and kind of just pick it up. And that's one thing I like about the tweezers, is then it's picked up and I can just throw it in the trash next to me. Especially for these little tiny parts, like the piece of R, I just picked that right out of there. Again, because this happens to be a vinyl that's easy to weed. Know your vinyls, know what you're working with, and just be careful. Because like I said, not all of them are so easy. Okay, so this is my first part. It's completely weeded and beautiful. Now I am going to take the second part, which is my honey. It's going to say, kind words are like honey, sweet to the soul. So I'm going to start off the same way here. And I'm going to, you know what? I am going to save some of this vinyl. There is, I know that it seems trivial, but there is some good vinyl here that wasn't used. And vinyl can add up. It can be kind of pricey. So I'm going to get some of these good chunks in here out of there, like that. Because even though these look small, you'd be surprised the kind of things that you can cut out of these. And I'm going to put this in my scrap bin. So now I've got this, and now I'm going to peel it back from the edge, just like I did on the other. Oh goodness. This is from Vinyl Frog, I believe, is what the company was called. And I do believe I got this on Amazon, if I'm not mistaken. And again, now this one's going to be a little bit more difficult because you've got like a loop here. So if I keep pulling, I'm just going to rip the vinyl. So in this case, I kind of weed as I'm pulling. Sometimes I'll cut the vinyl and then go back and weed it afterwards. It depends, again, on the design and how intricate it is. A lot of times, like with my peacock feathers, I'm cutting, like I would cut like this part off so that I can work with another part. This is kind of a bigger design than my peacock feathers, so it's a little bit easier, so I'm not going to do that here. So I'm pulling, and then once again, when I get to this area, you want to make really sure that none of this excess here is touching, so you can really quick just snip some of that off if you're worried that you're going to get, because if it touches this other part, you can end up with a disaster. Okay, so I'm going to keep pulling. I'm going to pull this little piece off here. And now once again, these are easy things to weed in here. This design is not one of my more intricate ones, so I'm just going to keep using the tweezers and pull it off. I really like the control that I get with the tweezers. So yeah. Also be careful, because a lot of times with like your golds and silvers and things, sometimes when you get those, they will have a film, like a clear film over them to help them keep their shine. So you always want to make sure that you get that peeled off first. you'll usually be able to tell when you're, see, I didn't get that peeled off here, but you'll usually be able to tell because when you're cutting it, if it's a more intricate design, it'll start looking like it's peeling all over and you'll be like, oh no, and then you realize it's just that clear. You know how sometimes you'll buy a mirror and there's like a clear piece of paper, or not piece of paper, a clear piece of like plastic or cellophane or something over top. You buy a phone, you have to peel that part off. That's how a lot of this vinyl is, to just keep that shine and to keep it from getting scratched up. So always make sure you check that beforehand, because it's a lot easier to get off before you cut it. Like I had missed that one little spot. So, all right, so now I've got this done, and it's gonna kind of fit together like this. Let me get that in there. It's gonna kind of fit together like this, and it's hard to show right now because you can't see all of it here, but it's gonna fit together like this sort of on the cup. So I'm gonna show you that in just a minute when I come back. Okay, all right, so what I'm gonna start off with is the honey. You can do it either way. I really kind of want to position my honey on the cup, and then the kind words and sweet to the soul can kind of go around it. But because the honey is so big and embellished, I want to put that on here first. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my transfer tape. That went on a little crooked, but that's okay. And I'm going to press it on here really well. I usually kind of rub it on with a popsicle stick or something like this. Just make sure there's no sharp ends touching it. There you go. And I'm going to pull this off very carefully, like so. I usually do it a little slower than that, but this gold sticks pretty well. So, and then this here is the side that I've decided to place it on. So I'm just going to kind of stand up for this. And I'm going to actually ask my daughter, can you come over here and kind of hold it in place for me? Thank you. I still have not made one of those beautiful holders that keeps it in place so well that everybody's been telling me about, and I really need to make. So I'm going to use my daughter for this one, and I'm going to place this where I want it. Not so much there. Hold on. That way, I think. Perfect. I think we're good there. Want to make sure that I'm laying it flat and not making bubbles. This is such a pretty intricate design. And then once I've got it on, press down really well. I'm going to slowly pull this off. Oop. I'm going to slowly pull it off. And if a little piece doesn't seem to be pulling, I just push it down, rub it in there really well, and then bring it back up. So this is looking great so far. Oop, there's a little piece there that's not pulling up. I'm just going to push it down. Perfect. I'm going to kind of roll it this way. Perfect. That came off wonderfully. Now, oop, there's a little part that's not cooperating. Okay. Perfection. All Okay, so I've checked it to make sure that it's really sitting well, and it is. Hope that that looks good and that you can see that really well. Perfect. Okay, so now I'm going to go in with the kind words and the sweet to the soul, and I'm going to use the same transfer tape. I try not to waste transfer tape because it doesn't last very long. Like, I swear, I feel like I'm always going through transfer tape, and I'm pretty good about using 1 to 2 pieces for every cup. So, all right, so now I'm going to take, got this all weeded out, and now I'm going to take, I'm going to have my daughter hold this again. And, oh, let's get a little bit more in here again. And I'm going to fit this right where I want it. And I think I'm going to do this bit by bit here. Okay, I'm going to do the top part there, because I don't really like exactly where it was laying. And I'm going to pull this top part off first. And the reason I like to use this vinyl that's kind of not like the shiny vinyl, it's more of the matte, is because on this, with it being so yellow and gold, I feel like it can kind of get a little too harsh if you use that shiny vinyl. But that's entirely up to you. And there we go. Ooh. T wanted to pop right off. Perfect. There we go. So, yeah, I like that. I'm gonna set that aside. Okay, so here we are so far. I'm really loving it. I'll show you kind of the rest of it. I really like the way this alcohol ink looks like sticky honey. And I think that that's beautiful there. So yeah, there we are. Now, I'm actually probably going to go in and add a few little bees. I'm not sure. I'm going to look at it for a little while and determine what I'm going to do, and then I'll come back and show you. Okay? Okay, so I did decide to do a few more things on this. I decided to do a honeycomb in, not a honeycomb, a beehive in gold. And then I decided to do some sort of, some little black, not really realistic bees, because I feel like it's kind of, it looks kind of fancy with this on here. And I thought that this would be a fun time to use one of these decorative bees. Now, there are times where I will use very realistic looking bees, and I'll put like flowers and stuff on the cup, and realistic looking flowers, of course. Now, when I do that, that's when I would more use either like a printable vinyl or a water slide. I will show you how to do both of those another day, but for today, I felt like with the style of this cup that I already had, that this was a little bit more appropriate. So I'm going to show you, because this I have not peeled, the clear paper off of. So what I'm going to do to get that clear paper to pull off is you kind of just pull at the edge without, you don't want to scrape it. But you just kind of pick at the edge a little bit. I do it a little with my little fingernail until it starts to pull up a little bit, and then I pull it off. And you can see how it's completely coming off now. Now it doesn't have to come off of the rest. It's only coming off of the part that's going to be put on my cup, so that's fine. So I've pulled that off now, and that's that plastic, and you can see, I don't know how well you can see it in the video, but the part that's going to be on my cup is shinier than the rest of it now. It's probably catching the light. It's probably not looking very good, but so just always make sure when you're using a holographic paper or you know, any kind of shiny paper that you're looking to see if there is that sort of covering on it. So now I'm going to pull the rest of this vinyl off around it, like such, and then I'm just going to weed it. And I'm not going to bore you by showing all of this again. Okay, so I have chosen to put the beehive on first. I want to put this someplace that's not on top of a honeycomb, because I think that that'll kind of take away from it, and I think it'll really make it pop if I kind of put it like maybe like right in here or right along the bottom here. I think I might put it kind of in the middle here, up against all this beautiful looking honey. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. I'm gonna put that in there. Good. And it all seems to be laying nice and flat. Awesome. So now I'm gonna peel this off. Oh, good Lord. There we go. Peel it off. And uh-oh. Whoa. A little too fast there. I wasn't paying attention. Okay. Whoop. Right there's coming up a little. So we're going to push that down. Good. Perfect. Got a tiny little bubble there, which I can fix really quick. Pretty good at fixing things like this. You just lightly pull it up around those areas and then just pull it out a little bit more and we're good. Now, if I were making this for someone, I might just pull it up and fix it. This is for me, so I'm not worried about it. I actually, wow, I fixed that thing good. Fixed it pretty good, so it's good. It might have a little speck on it right there where I did that, but it's fine, so I'm not worried about it. So that is now in there on the back side, and now I'm going to go in and try and figure out where I want my bees. I think I want a couple of bees on the front, maybe one there. And I'm just using that same matte black. Oh, I like that. That looks good. And then maybe one right here. Good, good, good. Okay. And I'm just going to keep putting these little bees all around the cup. But I'm going to show you as of right now what the front looks like. I love it. And you do what you like. You know, the types of bees that you like, the types of fonts that you like. I should note, I did not create this wording myself. Sometimes I will create it completely myself in Cricut. I did not. I went on Etsy and I purchased an SVG. I think it's very important to always make sure you're paying for other people's art. Do not go on and try and steal it from images that you find in Google Image. That is not okay. That is somebody else's hard work. If you've never used Cricut or Silhouette or anything before, you really probably don't appreciate how difficult it can be to make something like this. It's not an exceptionally easy task. So when I am using somebody else's art or somebody else's words, I am continuously making sure that I am paying for those. So I did purchase this from an Etsy shop. It is an SVG, and I purchased it, downloaded it, and then put it in my, uploaded it to my Cricut. And I will give them full credit. Down below, I will put a link to their Etsy shop so that you can get this as well. All right. Again, the bees, again, I did not create. I found those in the free, I have a subscription to Cricut. And I found those in the free pictures, and I think maybe the wording was like $2.99. But the beautiful thing about it is that you can keep using it over and over and over. Once you've purchased it, you have it forever. It's not just like one purchase, you know, because you use your own product to cut it and print it. It's just you're buying their art. So yeah. Okay, so I'm going to keep going around with more bees and adding those, and then I will come back.